And now for your weekly dose of metal. Here are your hosts, Morgan Danielle and Luco Blaze on The Metal Experience.
All right, we just heard Brood of Vipers. Is that like how you get like a pact of vipers is referred to as a brood?
Like a murder of crows.
Like there's a fuck ton of vipers over there. I'm like, oh, you mean brood. All right, well, anyway, we heard Brood of Vipers by Rhino. That's a brand new, and they have a brand new video up on their YouTube page. And then we heard Bottle Kids by Tanzan. Woo, that's a fucking tasty track also. We are with us. Well, first off, introductions. I am Luco Blaze, Morgan Danielle. We're rocking out in the back of Fitz's Spare Keys with for us for the third time.
Hell yeah.
First time for you. Your first timer. We'll be gentle. Mm-hmm. Actually, I make no promises.
What?
Huh? We are rocking out here with Snow Burial, formerly Oxblood. If you go back in the archives.
That's right.
A long time ago.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Reintroduce yourselves. What you do in the band, and who's missing tonight?
My name is Ben. I play guitar and sing and play synth.
My name's Nick. I play bass. I scream occasionally.
And Brandon can't make it tonight, but he is the one who's playing the drums on things.
Yeah. So Blast from the Past, real quick, I do have pulled up here your first appearances on our show.
And the first time we saw you guys, you played with Tanzan.
Yeah, that was actually our first show as Oxblood.
That was
That's
at
awesome.
Yeah, the mutiny.
the Mutiny.
Holy shit!
And we
That's
couldn't
how
take
we were
any.
like-
We mentioned this last time, but we tried to take video of them, but they only had one red light
Yeah.
on them. It
We had two.
was two. They had two red lights on them, and we took
All
video.
this is checking out for me.
And-
this is in line with my experience.
We
I
looked-
feel like
we
that
looked
might
ba-
be on a recorder somewhere.
We looked back
Oh,
and
man,
we're
that'd
like,
be
"Hey,
amazing.
we can't use any of this because
Is
you
this-
can't see anything."
Yeah,
Oh,
that,
no.
my lovely wife eventually explained to us that it is impossible for people to
Yeah,
take
red
photos
light
of
is
you.
fucking awful for anything having to do with video.
But it was a cool
Yeah.
idea.
Right.
Couldn't see her very well, but it was pretty cool.
That feels like the mantra of Snow Bear. Like, great idea, poorly executed. That's like that should go on our tombstone.
Ooh, that cuts deep.
Red
Oh,
light,
jeez.
not bright enough.
Well, the first time that you guys were on our show was as Oxblood.
Yes.
And that was holy fucking shit. This is how long we've known each other now. March 4th of 2014. And you were actually at our first location before we moved here in Elmhurst. And then the second time you were on our show, and I can't believe when I read this, I was kind of in shock because I didn't realize how long it had been since you had been on. You guys were here February 9th of 2016. It's been almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
4.
Right?
It
What
doesn't
the-
seem like that,
What the
right?
fuck have you been doing?
Right?
Yeah, it
Wait,
took us
hold
that
on.
long to get an album.
Before we do that, we do something very special, and Ben almost ruined this surprise. We
Oh.
do something special for bands that have been on 3 times as a, hey, thanks for coming back 3 times and hanging with us. So please gently, so we don't make noise. Yes, lift the mic
violently.
stand.
Oh.
No!
It's
What?
the official Metal Experience
This is so
VIP
laminated.
badge. Yeah.
Oh,
You can
that's
get
so
Brandon
sweet.
his if you choose.
I choose to take Brandon's.
Fuck that guy.
you know.
He's not here.
You miss school,
winner,
you miss
chicken
out.
dinner.
Wait, Nick, this is really, it's only the first time you've been here. So,
Well,
Cough it up, sucker.
Snow
You
Burial
show up,
as a
you get-
band.
I don't know if you looked under your mic stand, but I found mine.
well, thank you so much. That is so sweet. I'm very excited for that.
Thank you.
Flash those everywhere. It's like an all-access pass.
He
And it-
doesn't lie. It's stupid how gullible people are for falling for that type of stuff.
Well, you're in the band.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So just,
More water.
I have the our Metal Experience badge, and I flash it all the time, and I just say I'm with the tour package, and they're like, "All right, sweet."
That's so smart.
The tour
Oh,
package.
The tour
Luco goes
package.
everywhere. But anyway,
like
back
that.
to Snow Burial. So let's talk. So since 2016, a lot has happened
Mm-hmm.
in the Snow Burial. Wow, you guys have been around for so long now.
I know, right?
You guys are so old.
So old.
I don't know where to begin. So let's start. Like you guys had released an album. You're on Prosthetic Records. You've traveled a lot. Where do we start? And now Nick is in the band.
Yes.
Okay, so let's backtrack really quickly. Andrew, the first time that we met you guys, Andrew was in the band. So when did Nick become a part of this group, and so on and so forth?
How'd you meet Nick?
Yes. please.
So that happened before he joined. So Nick and I were in a band called Only the Bones. We started jamming 20-something, 18?
Yeah.
That sounds right. And one of my oldest friends in Chicago, a guy named Zafar Musharraf, he's been in a million bands. I shared a practice space with him for a long time. He was starting up a new project. I was looking to jam with him. I've known him forever. Had never been hung out with him and jammed. He was in a really killer band called Swan King, amongst many other cool bands. And anyway, so he was jamming with Nick, and then we all started jamming together and really got along. So that band, we put out a record. We played a bunch of shows, did some regional touring, and Snow Burial was gearing up to go tour Europe for the second time. We had a 2-week tour that I was booking, and Andrew, unfortunately, could not make that tour. And with just his life schedule and work schedule and stuff, it was getting harder and harder for him to participate. He had joined a startup. It was a really cool job, really cool opportunity, but it was also just consuming his life. So Nick joined us on that tour. He learned all the songs, filled in for that tour, and then eventually Andrew was just like, look, man, I love you guys, but I just can't really make it happen as much as you guys need to go do stuff. So when that opportunity arose, Nick joined us full time.
And when was this? When did you join? When was it official?
Oh boy. I mean, I don't know if I've gotten my official welcome letter
Still-
ever yet.
still not
I don't-
official.
Hey, your name's on the goddamn contract.
I want a nameplate. I want one of these. I got it. This
You
is
got it. There you
It
go.
happened tonight.
You did it.
I got my VAP.
It's official tonight, then.
That's awesome. I'll take this as my snow burial birthday.
So yeah, somewhere in 2018.
Yeah, it was after the tour.
Yeah.
I think probably the first time that we ever played was it
Liars
the first?
Club.
Well, I meant
Wait, the first time you played in Snow Burial?
yeah. Well, no, that was in
That was
UK.
that was in England.
Our first show. The first time I'd ever played with these guys was on not in America, and that was a double new experience for me.
Right.
That felt wild.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, here, play all these new songs after a 9-hour flight, and you're jet lagged. Yeah.
So
yeah.
the second time that you guys went to Europe, where did you guys travel?
So we started off in England. We had 2 weeks scheduled. Picked up our van, played I think one show, something like that, 1 or 2 shows. Caught the ferry over to France, played a couple shows in France, played in the Czech Republic, and then fun story, our van blew up.
Oh, blew up?
Well,
Like-
effectively. So
Or caught fire and on the side of the road just burnt?
no, something much more mundane. A filter, a diesel filter in the engine went bad, and thanks to EU laws, the ECU determined that the motor could not be started if this filter was failed.
Oh my God.
And we tried every back alley, literally calling every mechanic we could. We were asking favors. We were in the middle of the Czech Republic, and now we were very cleanly dovetailing into why the album is named Ostrava. We were in Ostrava, Czech Republic, working with a dealership, trying to find someone who could fix the van. Of course, this had been such a problem for that motor. There were none of that part in all of mainland Europe.
Oh no.
And there was one dude who was a goddamn angel who spoke English at that dealership. And he was just sitting with me and Simon from another kick-ass band called Monolithian while we panic shat ourselves because we just thought oh, this just got to reset a code or something and fix this thing and we'll be on our way. No, this is an engine out fix to get at the filter. It's at the bottom of the fucking engine. So we figured out how to order the part in England where they still had them, get it couriered to, I think, Heathrow, to get it overnighted to Prague,
Oh my God.
find another courier to get that part to Ostrava, Czech
All
Republic.
to fix, first off, a van that you don't own,
Yes.
that you're just renting.
Well, two very important things are about this. When we called insert shitty rental company name here, they were like, "Oh, we'll get you a replacement. Where are you?" And when we answered Czech Republic, they said, "What? That van wasn't supposed to leave the UK."
Yeah.
they were a little sore about us
That's
taking it out of the
on me.
country.
So you didn't understand in your contract that you were
We did.
Oh, no, I
We
understood.
But here's the crazy thing that Ben did that was the most impressive, which he has omitted, was that where we were going to get it fixed at the Ford dealership in the Czech Republic, we were getting it fixed.
They have 4 dealerships over there?
They-
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
we needed to go a couple 100 kilometers, and the next time the car started, it would not start anymore.
Oh, yeah. There was
So-
a 1,000-kilometer countdown to when your motor would just stop.
And so Ben had to think about this. He's also driving on the wrong
Oh, yeah, because we
the
picked-
right side of the road, but on the wrong side of the car because we're in a UK van. And he's got to shift left-handed.
It's a stick
And if
shift.
he stalls the van, we are trapped wherever we end up.
Yeah.
So every time he shifts, it literally is the difference between us breaking down right there or not making it to where we're going.
Yeah,
And
not
he-
making it to a dealership.
How did they just say you're the driver of this?
I'm bigger than everyone? I don't know. I'm bigger than you.
That's how it works. I mean, that's jungle law as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Do you know how to
yeah.
drive stick shift?
Yeah, yeah.
I had no problem abdicating that responsibility.
Anyone else know how to drive stick shift?
I mean, I know how to drive a
Oh,
stick.
okay.
Shannon, she knew. Yeah.
I was
So
gonna say, because if that was the case, it'd be like, well, it looks like I don't know how to drive stick shift, so I'd be like, oh,
stick shift.
So Shannon, the drummer in Monolithian, could drive stick, and she had her own van.
there was a separate van.
So no. So we were touring with Monolithian
In the same van.
In the same van. So we were sharing gear. They were a 2-piece. We were a 3-piece. So 5 people in a van.
That's not
Pretty
too
easy.
bad.
Okay.
No, it was pretty easy to manage. So she could drive, but she was also very happy to abdicate that
And
responsibility.
not
to
as
me
big
well.
as you are. So
Also not. No.
And where are they from?
They're from Plymouth, UK. So they're in England.
So they
rule.
kind of knew their way around in a sense.
In England.
In
yes.
England.
For the first day.
For the first day. In Czech Republic, not so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's like if we were. Would you relate that to like if we were to go to Canada and you're like, well, you're from this continent though, so
Right. So you know Mexico,
so
right?
you know Mexico.
shut up, Luco. I'm not smart.
No. It's a fair question. They were much more likely to know how to get around
I just-
mainland Europe than I would.
I didn't know if they had toured before to these places that you
Right.
had been. Yeah, Luco.
They-
I have logic for this question.
I will defend. Yes, you are correct. That was a good question. But yeah, no, I was doing most of the driving. But to Nick's point, I ate that clutch for lunch and dinner, burning the shit out of it to not stall that car.
Brutal.
So yeah, I had to granny that thing all over just to get to the dealer for the hope that we would get it fixed, and then figured out all these problems. Figured out that I had unwittingly trapped us there by violating the terms of our rental contract, but then fixed the van. So what was amazing is that dealership, like, were totally ready to set aside all their work for whenever the part got there. They fixed our van. They like started on it as soon as they opened up and got it. We got back on the road. I mean, this is like, so what sucked was we were trapped over there. Our van was broken and we had to cancel like half our shows for the tour.
Oh my god.
What was amazing was that they got it fixed for us. It was 11 a.m. on Friday. We had to be in London to play Desert Fest Saturday, like early afternoon.
At noon. Like,
Yeah.
we were like 24 hours.
So I drove 17 hours straight across literally 7 countries to get to the ferry at Calais, and to catch the ferry back over to Dover. Unwittingly to us, or unknowingly to us, the customs people at Heathrow, when we had landed, so England had been long kind of different from the EU before all the nonsense, and it's only gotten worse. But so
The EU.
yeah, the European Union,
Oh, okay.
right? So you can drive across France, like going from the Czech Republic into Poland, into Germany, into Belgium, into the Netherlands, and into France. It's just a highway. It's just like crossing state lines here,
Okay.
right? Like you can just go from Illinois down to Florida, no
Yeah.
problem, right? But to get into England, we had to show our passports again because England. And
Okay.
so to get over there, we had our passports as we land in Heathrow, and you go
Yeah.
through customs, and they sign your thing. But apparently, like they didn't sign it the right way enough or something. So
Oh,
the customs
God.
people, when we got there, were like pissed off. It's like
4 in
12,
the morning. No, it was the middle of the night.
It was the
by
middle
the
of
time
the
we
night.
got there. It was
like 2 in the morning.
we wanted
something.
to die.
And you're like, how am I supposed to know if they signed my passport correctly?
Right. So it
You're
took
back
them.
in England. Just go. Whose handwriting is this?
Well, they were like, look, the guy at Heathrow screwed this up, but I have to go fix it. So they spent like 2.5 hours fixing it for our 3 American passports, while we just stood in line at customs. Like we had been in the car for 17 hours, get on the ferry, sleep for maybe a half an hour on a bench on the ferry, get in the van, and then we have to drive from Dover to London, which is not a short drive. And also, that's the now incorrect side of the road. Right. So,
Perfect for when you've just sleep deprived,
Sleep
after
deprived
having
and, like,
driven for
Why is everyone on the wrong
18
side of the
hours.
road?
and then had like 4 days worth of panic attacks.
Oh, there are
and
definitely some times where a car would look like it was coming directly at us, and I was like, "This is a horrible feeling."
it is, yeah, it is mind bending to drive in England. So we got to London. We had to load in at like noon. We had parked on the street. Like Nick and I slept in the van for like an hour before load in. Loaded in and then played our show. Which
Show ruled, by the way.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was.
yeah, place was packed. We kicked ass. Monolithian also kicked ass. They were in it with us this whole time too. Like they were equally as fucked as we were.
Yeah.
And they held it together. They absolutely crushed it. And then I think we were borrowing Monolithian's gear, so we got their gear back to their van and then went straight to the airport.
Literally, if they had not fixed the van exactly at the time they did, we would have missed our flights home. We had like a 3-hour window from when they could have fixed the van to when they did, that we would have actually had to just completely reschedule all our flights home. We
We're
were
basically
all,
like looking up flights from Prague. We're just like, oh, fuck it. We're just
Yeah.
we bought a van.
just bought a van and left it. Guess I'm not coming back here.
So then, how many shows did you guys have scheduled in that 2-week time frame?
10, 11, you know, I mean,
Yeah, it was like
mo-
12 shows or
10
something,
to
and then we
12.
canceled
And
like
how many did
5
you
or 6 of them.
Play
half,
so like 6?
Just over half. Yeah, it was like
something like that.
something. A couple in England.
We blocked out a
Yeah.
lot of that happened there.
Sorry to bring that back up. Then
Well, no, we named the album after
It's
it.
just-
So
it's
I've told
interesting,
this
though.
story like 6 times.
you know, I've never been to Europe.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it's like,
It was my first time too. I was like, that was my whole hook. They were like, if you come you learn these songs, you can go to Europe. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that.
yeah, all right, perfect.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and then
But
surprise.
this was your second time to Europe,
Yes.
so you should have been. You should have
Should have
known,
been smarter.
You should have known what you were doing.
No,
It's like,
it was a freak accident. I hold no one responsible. There's no way that we could have. It was some Apollo 13 fucking
Like-
broken shit. Like the thing said stir the tanks, and I stirred the tanks, and I do it again. Like, that was it. That's as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it was like the reason why none of those parts were available in mainland Europe, like in any country in the EU, was because so many of them had failed on this goddamn van.
Yeah. So
That's
you guys
terrible.
weren't supposed to take this van.
No.
A
Out of the
detail.
So when you brought it back, what did they say to you after they were like, you brought
Like,
it?
they
where?
brought it back and just returned
Well-
the keys to the drop slot and left.
That's exactly what we did.
Did you get fined for it?
No, well, they
It was fixed.
it was
Got returned
fixed
on time.
The van was
Got
returned on time. There was nothing for them to do. They were just
Yeah.
like they just couldn't give us a spare
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's
You weren't supposed to take this out of the country.
100%.
Oh man. Well, let's play a track that came off of that new record.
Sure.
What track do you want to play first?
Well, in honor, so there's 2 songs named Trinec and Ostrava, which are 2 cities in Czech Republic, which, by the way, was a really lovely place to be stuck for a while.
Well, let's play him as a twofer, back to back.
There you go.
Here we go.
come check out Small Town Mentality Podcast with your host, Ben, and
Austin,
we are on every Thursday morning.
with tips on how to be a more efficient racist.
No, we don't do that.
Also, best ways to bag your sister in the sack.
No, I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Also, we do impressions.
We don't do that either. We do have some buttons that we push sometimes.
What? And black people.
Anyways, you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and everywhere you get a podcast.
You can find us closest to your nearing burning cross.
No, you can't. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at STM Podcast. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
That's Adriana.
This is Noe.
We're Autumn Leaves, and you're listening to The Metal Experience.
All right, we are back with the Metal Experience. I am Morgan Danielle with Luco Blaze, hanging out with the guys in Snow Burial tonight. That was a twofer, and that was
Trinik.
and
Ostrava.
there we go.
I probably pronounced that
See,
super
See?
terrible.
Thank you, phone, for helping me.
And those pronounced probably incorrectly.
Hey, the phone did it right.
It's how we
debatable.
said it when we were there, and
No one corrected you.
Yeah.
they were very kind.
They were too polite.
So those are two cities
Yes.
in the Czech Republic.
Yes. One of which we played at a place called Bar Rocco.
Oh, Bar Rocco.
Yeah, those were the place where the last show of the first leg of our tour, and where we were stranded for a few days. So seemed like they were sister cities for us, and so that's why we gave them each a title.
Okay.
I like it. So the new album,
Real quick though, while you guys were stranded, what did you guys do? Just hung out? You did any little sightseeing or anything while you were?
Well, Brandon is a hero, and in the midst of our total despair, where we're just literally staying in this tiny hostel, just imploding, he was like, "Hey guys, I totally want to go to Prague," and we were like, "I don't want to." And then he's like, "I got you. I'm gonna do everything. I will plan everything. Just get on the train, and I will take you to an awesome kick-ass experience in Prague." He took care of everything. He just planned from when we were going to get there to what we were going to do, and he just took us, and it was the most magical place I was at in Europe. I loved that city.
Yeah.
I would 100% go back. We went to a sex toy museum.
Yes.
That was wild.
Yep.
It was informative. I realized I am tame.
Ben's like, listen, if we're gonna be in Europe, we're going to the sex museum.
what does it
Sex
say
toy
about
museum.
Brandon?
Yeah. Well, we were along for the ride.
No, I might have angled for this. We walked past both an Apple museum and a sex toy museum. Within
Apple
it was like an
Like
Apple
Apple
computers.
Oh, there's a
And
different. Wait. Hold
on the same
there's
block.
an Apple computer museum. Like that
on the
needs
same
to
block.
be a thing.
Yep.
We got to show how Apple progressed.
Hey,
I mean,
Prague.
you can also rightly ask why we needed a sex toy museum.
But we have to show how it progressed in the U.S. overseas in Prague. Prague was like, we need to show how the U.S. did this.
Interesting.
Sex toy museum 1.
So what's the craziest thing that was in that museum?
Smotherbox.
Immediately.
Yeah.
What?
Had that
Describe
chambered.
Motherbox.
Describe a smother box,
A
please.
smotherbox
Well, what do you think?
is a finely crafted piece of mahogany,
Okay, I like where this is going.
lovingly sculpted with velvet and leather accoutrements.
Like
Okay.
tufted leather seat.
So it's it looks like a suitcase, except there is a circular hole cut out of a section of it, presumably where a head/neck goes.
Okay.
And then on the top of where a suitcase would be is what could only be described as a toilet seat. So it is a portable shit on my face box.
Yep.
And it looked like it should cost $10,000. It was
Yeah, that was.
You're going to be doing the most disgusting thing, looking like a total boss.
I'm gonna look up a picture of this.
Do it. If you want that in your Google history.
Switch to private mode.
Smother box.
They're selling them on Etsy.
Smother. What do you do for work? I make smother boxes. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know what that is.
There's a smother bench. Did you see those two?
Smother
Ooh.
bench.
Like
Even
no
better.
joke, Luco. These do look like
Yeah.
padded toilets.
Yeah.
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 That looks right.
For just farting on and shitting on people's faces.
I mean,
This
it's
is this
for
is
what
what
it-
it looks like in action.
I
Somebody's
mean-
standing on it.
It's just
You wanna see this?
the imagination knows no bounds. It could be anything.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. See, I just, like I said, we learned that I was much more prudish than I thought I was.
I thought.
How many did you purchase?
I mean, a down
It's-
payment on one. Like,
So you can do face sitting.
While you're working on the computer.
Yeah. I guess. So they're going on
Gotta
Etsy for
multitask.
anybody that wants smother boxes. I could tell you a price
There
if
you
you're
go.
interested.
Yeah, give me a ballpark.
Well, they're digital. A lot of them are digital downloads for you to build your own.
Oh, you get your
But
own
3D
spec.
there's-
print yours.
There's one going,
The
and it's
specs
not
for it.
like that. Like, it's called a mature face sitting stool
Oh.
smother box. It's for like $194.
Oh, that's not
I
bad.
steal it twice the price.
Yeah.
Yeah. A solid oak
Can you
smother
imagine, like, your-
bench, though.
Your grandma comes over. and she's
It's
like, "What's that?"
$750, and
Grandma.
apparently it's in one person's cart right now.
Oh, you got to hurry up. You got to buy that before they do.
So $750 for a bench.
This is real urgency.
For a bench to get the whole family involved.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 1800s
It's solid
era.
solid oak smother bench.
See, that's quality. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right.
That's right.
I guess so.
And none of
it's,
this
it's
MDF
a
bullshit.
queening throne for face sitting, is what they say.
Oh my
Fetish
goodness.
furniture smother box. All right. Well, we learned something new. Thank you, Snow Burial.
Exactly. Well,
Looks like-
thank you,
That's
Prague.
that's gonna be the
Ben.
next album title. Smotherbox.
Little different than speaker box.
Yeah. Morgan, looks like Morgan knows what now she's getting for her birthday.
You're buying me that for my
I'm gonna
birthday?
fart all over your face.
So she's buying you,
wanted to-
that
you
for
wanted
your
to know,
birthday.
You wanted to
Luca.
know whose card it was in.
Oh, gross. He does have an Etsy account, too. Now I know what he's looking at when he won't show me his phone. Anyway.
Awesome
Yeah.
birthday gifts for
All right.
you.
So the new album, when did it officially release?
It was released on September 20th, 2019.
Okay, cool. So we're not too
you
far
almost
off.
said 19.
I know. That's because I'm an old man.
1998.
1999. I was
Where
little.
did you guys record it at?
So the bulk of it was recorded at Electrical Audio, which is the bossest of Boss Studios, located here in Chicago, run by the legendary Steve Albini. Fantastic studio. Love that place. We did some auxiliary recording. We did all the vocals over at Polymyth Studios, where Nick works as a editor.
Woo!
And yeah,
Fancy.
we could use their spot. They were really helpful. Actually, that's also where we shot the video for Sever the Bloodline.
Made a murder room in our office.
Nice.
That's pretty
It's pretty
sweet.
dope. And then I did some acoustic overdub stuff up at Howell Street Recordings. So Shane, the engineer who runs Howell Street and is the drummer in Child Bite,
Oh, wow.
he came and engineered. So he recorded all of our other stuff. So he recorded all our previous all our records, EPs, and stuff. So he came down to Electrical Audio, recorded our album there, and then I did like that acoustic intro you just heard on Trinetch was recorded up at his place.
Nice. I didn't realize Child Bite was from around here.
They're Detroit, and Shane is in Milwaukee, so they're
Okay.
not.
Oh, okay.
So you are correct.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. And how did you guys get signed with Prosthetic Records?
So some dear friends of ours, unbeknownst to us, had been talking us up to their A&R guy, Steve, who is a kind and loving gentleman. And we were playing the Forever Deaf Fest that Nick put on. Nick Fury.
Other Nick.
Back
Right.
in 2018?
Yes, 2018. So Prosthetic had a showcase day the second day. They have a bunch of other bands on their roster from Chicago, and they're lovely people. We're good friends with them. In fact, you're wearing a shirt of one of theirs. You're wearing a Zaya shirt.
Yes.
And so Steve and EJ from Prosthetic came out and saw us. They came out a day early to see us and chatted us up, and then we worked with them on. We had already had studio time booked. We were ready to go and record and produce this record, and worked out a deal with them to put it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a good move.
Yeah, they rule. They've been absolutely great to work with. I couldn't be happier.
Now, did they help you guys set up the European tour? Or that was
all DIY. Yeah,
Okay.
that was all me.
It was before too, right?
Yeah,
We'd already
yeah.
done it by the
Okay.
time that had rolled around.
So you had mentioned a tour for the CD release in the States.
Yes. So in October, basically right after we did our record release here in Chicago, and then like a week later, hit the road for 2.5 weeks, hit up the East Coast. Actually went into Canada as well.
Canada.
Yeah, it was super cool. And we worked with Tone Deaf booking agency to get that booked.
Did you guys go with anyone else, or you yourself? Like last time you guys were with another band?
That's right. Yeah, we just went solo this time. We did get to do, so we're really good friends with a band called Errata from North Carolina, and we got to do like a 3-day sort of mini run with them.
Yeah.
Which is great. We love them. They're an amazing band and really nice people. So
Tell me more while you're burping.
yeah, I was trying to do it off mic. I was trying to be nice. So yeah, but we didn't didn't get to do a whole. Hey, sweet Black Hawk's cool. We didn't get to do the whole 2.5 weeks with them. They weren't available for the whole thing, but yeah. So we went out solo, and that was a blast. I got to. I grew up out on the East Coast. I grew up in Boston, but I also went to school in upstate New York, and my family's from North Carolina, so I got to see a whole bunch of family and friends along the way. Yeah, so it was a great time.
How many total shows for that?
I was 17 shows.
17
Whoa.
shows.
That's a lot.
16.
Yeah, they were pretty back to back.
Yeah, we had like one day off.
Yeah.
Wait, 16 shows in 2.5 weeks?
It was like 17 shows in 18 days or 16 shows in 17 days, something like
Dang.
that. Yeah.
How
No-
did you find the bands to play with?
So some of it was set up through our booking agent. Some of it was us looking for locals. Some of it were friends we knew we had in the area. So, like with Errata in the North Carolina shows, they played with us for those. I'm actually wearing the shirt of a band we got to play with in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's a
band
sweet
called-
shirt.
Yeah, band called Horse Burner. They're from West Virginia. Yeah, we're working on touring with them this coming summer. It's not all booked in stone yet, but we're gonna hit the road in the summer.
Everyone's on an NDA.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Shit. I just but yeah, so they rule. And
Yeah, it was great. We were like in the van doing regional shows, and we were just like, hey, we put out on Twitter, like, what records should we listen to? And someone was like, you need to check out the new Horse Burner record. And we were like, we put it on, and we're like, holy shit, this record rules. And then we figured out that we'd be playing with them in a couple of weeks. I was like, holy shit! We were so excited.
Nice.
We were like little kid. We were like fanboy. It was embarrassing.
Guess
So-
who I'm looking at when I get home?
Oh, hell yeah.
You
The
should.
Horse burner.
That band rules.
Now, when you guys are on tour, did you rent a van?
not this time. No. So
Lessons learned.
learned a lesson there. So we managed to figure out that we could fit all of our gear in my truck.
Like a pickup truck?
Yeah, I have an F-150.
Or like an SUV?
No, an F-150. So the
Luco's like blown away.
somehow the thing is so ridiculously oversized that when you fold up the back seat, you can actually fit a 26-inch kick drum on the
Where
floor.
are you supposed to put the humans?
So there's only 3 of us, right? So it's a 60-40 back.
I mean, the
split
engine room
back seat.
rides like
He even
vertically.
asked the band, he's
Yeah.
like, where are you putting humans?
So it was 2 people up front, and
And
we
the
had
new
one
guy
seat
rides in the back. Like, I'm like in the bed. Like, you earn your spot in the cab after a couple of tours.
Why haven't you just rented like a U-Haul trailer?
We don't need to.
Right. So
He fits in the bed.
so we didn't need to rent a trailer that way. So that's the other thing is that like with that truck, like we had the bed cover and all the gear on the inside, and so when you have a trailer, you got to pay extra for tolls.
Wait.
It's harder to park.
All of the gear fit inside the truck?
Uh-huh.
Like not even in the bed of the truck?
Well,
Luco,
in the-
they're a
in the bed.
three-piece.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
3 of
but
us.
still-
If you'd like, I have some very loving Tetris photos that evolved over the course of the tour that are near and dear to my heart about
Yes,
how
please. I'd love
we
to see this.
sapped every square
Every
inch of space out of that thing, and every night
It's
was my
really good
opportunity
that you
to
have
like
a gamer
find-
with you. Like this
find-
helps.
We
find
couldn't-
new space.
It was like you cannot buy a record until we've sold one. Like that's how much space we had.
You had to make room in the merch box for a record by selling one before you could put a new one in there.
That's a good rule. That's awesome.
Well, no, it's because they didn't have the room.
I know. I got
Literally, they
Luco,
did
I
not have the
understood
room,
that.
Morgan.
I understood that.
Honestly, it was one of the better touring situations that I'd ever been a part of. Like, it rode like a champ. We never had to worry about like going through parking lots. I mean, like touring with a trailer is cumbersome and horrible. Like going through a drive-through at 2 a.m. for Taco Bell is a nightmare with a U-Haul attached to that thing. So being able to do just the F-150 also kept it very low key when we were parking it in sketchy neighborhoods.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a tour vehicle.
Yes, it looks just like a rig. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like break glass to rob us of our dreams
Yeah.
inside. Like,
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that unfortunately that
Yeah,
happens
it
to on the
happens a
road.
lot.
It's terrible.
Yep.
Let's play more music. I want to hear more.
And I want to see these pictures.
Yeah, that too.
We can
What
happen.
is the next track?
Let's play Sever the Bloodline. We just talked about the video that we had made for it.
Yeah.
So that should be track 2.
Here we go.
Seeking the return of tyranny. After decades under the tyrant, they're also reluctant to trust authority.
Many Americans have lost confidence in what their government has told them about our policy.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
right now! Do you want to hear a fucking podcast about anything and everything? Like movies, music, television, and more? Oh my god. Well, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to Journey into Comics Network, and you get Podcastrophe, hosted by me, Dick. Why not throw a couple bucks to the Patreon? It's your choice. Yeah. This is a Podcastrophe.
That sounds so awesome.
Hey, this is Pete,
Tanner,
Zach, Ed, and we're Bloodletter, and you're listening to The Metal Experience.
All right. I'm Morgan Danielle with Luco Blaze, hanging out with Snow Burial tonight. Another awesome track that we just heard, which you also said that you had a music video for, Sever the Bloodline, in the murder room.
Damn right.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the recording process. And Nick, were you on this album?
I was.
You were. So what did you guys do differently this time around when you did this album, recording wise, that you weren't doing before, if you had changed it?
I mean, the me.
That's
a big diff. I'm the Delta.
Yeah, no, that was a big Delta.
They had a new human figuring out these songs.
A new human.
Mm-hmm. Where's the new human? Where's the new guy? Nick and I had recorded an album before, so we'd worked together on that Only the Bones record. So we knew each other, and we'd actually done it at Electrical Audio, in that same studio in Studio B. So it was a nice familiar place for us. And also we hadn't recorded a Snow Burial record there. The space itself is just an amazing place to, well, okay, that's a little bit of a lie. We had done a split, tape with Aseeth from Iowa, who are on Thrill Jockey Records. That band
rules.
Absolutely rules. And so we had done a split.
Spell that for me.
Yes. ASEETHE. So
okay, it was exactly how I thought it was, except for the E at the end. So
perfect.
Good. I kind of saw it already.
So yeah, they're just wrapping up their tour. They're on tour right now. And we've known them forever. Love those guys. Total sweethearts. We've done a bunch of regional tours with them. So we did a split with them and we did just like a quick day, recorded 2 songs at Electrical Audio, and it's just the best studio. So that in and of itself is a big change, right? That drum room, Studio B, has its own life to it. So that was a change in the process. We tried to do as much as we could live together. There was a fair amount of overdubbing guitars and bass afterwards, but one of the nice things about that spot is we can all be in the same room recording with the drums and in each other's spaces and faces and kind of queuing off each other and getting each other's energy, which I really like.
I mean, that's what I'm from Nevada, and bands that I grew up playing with would actually plan their whole tours to get out to Electrical Audio to record at Albini's studio. And so it was like a dream for us, and those bands would get like a song on a 7-inch. So to be able to record there was like a life dream for me, and it's the best. It just everything about that huge drum sound that I love, unlike In Utero and all the other it's the sounds they get out of that place are insane.
Wait, hold on. Nirvana recorded there?
No, I don't think In Utero is recorded, but it's Albini's studio and the way that they
he
him
recorded,
and Greg Norman get big drum sounds. It's sort of they put that signature feel across everything.
Yeah. So a bunch of Pelicans records were recorded there. A bunch of Russian Circles records were recorded there. There's a laundry list of awesome records recorded there, especially in metal and from Chicago.
I'm gonna look at Electric Audio.
Yeah, Electrical Audio.
Electrical.
Audio.
Duh.
Yeah. No, it's okay. But yeah, no, it's it is the highest classed DIY spot you will ever see. They have put every ounce of effort and profit back into the gear that's in there, without any of the real there's a coffee machine. It's not luxurious, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Right? There are world-class records coming out of there all the time. and it is way underpriced for what you get.
Well, the coffee machine though.
The coffee machine is critical because I learned how to make my own lattes and espresso there. Yeah, they're real good.
They have a recipe for fluffy coffee.
Oh, fluffy coffee.
Fluffy coffee.
There's like,
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in the kitchen, you're like making coffee or you're bullshitting in between takes, whatever. You like look at the refrigerator and there's like a note from Fugazi on the refrigerator.
Yeah, we thank you kindly, Fugazi.
It's like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, right. That's that studio.
Yeah.
Right, and it is easily like within feasible monetary range of a band like us. Like we're touring, we're on a label, but we're not getting $100,000 to go make a record.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's Albini's ethos too, right? Like he's like, look, I'm an engineer. I'm here to record what the band's doing. Like I'm not the celebrity. Like you guys, I'm here to do a service.
Yeah.
And he's exceptionally good at it. Plus his band Shellac rules.
Shellac
Just
of
so you
North
guys
America?
know, you guys
1,000 hertz.
You guys
1,000.
are on his band list.
Woo!
On his
We
website.
made it.
And I think these are all hyperlinked to your pages.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, like, if I click on your name,
Please do.
Well, I
take
clicked
that,
on it.
We'll take that Google Traffic.
I'm not sure what happened. What happened? I clicked on something, but I don't know. Like, you are on his list of the bands he's recorded
That's flipping great. That's awesome.
on his website. I was trying to like see. I don't know. I like pushed something and it expanded, but it didn't take me to a link. I don't know. But what was your favorite song that you have on the album? What did you have stand out the most, you thought? It can be individual. It doesn't have to be.
I think for me it's Ostrava. I think because that experience was like shared among the whole band. I think that for me was the time I started to feel like I was part of the band and that I was actually making something, both memories and experiences with them. And so that song just like sits in my heart a little bit. It feels like us. It actually feels like that song is about Ben, Brandon, and I in the Humans in Monolithian, like just being trapped and in despair and still
Europe.
trying to smile and
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah, I'm like 4,500 miles away from home, right? And I've got 2 kids at home that were like, what am I doing? Like, I'm a grown ass man. What am I doing trapped in a hostel with these clouds?
and we were
Going
clowns.
to a sex toy museum.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You were living, Ben. That's what you were doing. You were living.
Yeah.
And we do feel like Ben's
there's-
rascals quite often.
Genuinely, there's a point where I just felt gobsmacked. Like I'm standing in the middle of Prague, like looking at some beautiful medieval architecture, like having a Pilsner Urquell while also in the middle of this complete disaster. And like I'm simultaneously like enjoying this and hating it and feeling awful for subjecting my poor wife to being stuck with the kids while I'm out doing this nonsense, and like holy shit, I fucking made it. Like I'm in Europe touring. Like that's
What else other than the Apple Store and the
Wait, we
Sex store,
didn't
did you
even
see in
ask
Prague?
Ben what his
But,
favorite
you know,
song was
when
on
we
the
come
album.
back
We
to it-
talked to Nick.
we're
and
on a
now-
tangent. Let's go down the
All right,
rabbit
let's
hole.
go down the
Not
rabbit hole.
Prague.
Here we go.
But I think the answer is Bone Church.
Yeah, holy shit. The Sudlets Ossuary. So there is a church. I don't remember I guess the name of the town is I don't know what town it was in.
We're Americans. We don't have to know.
We don't have the name. But so it's this beautiful we're traveling through. It's a countryside. It's May. It's a beautiful almost summer day. Right, all of the lilacs are in bloom. It smells wonderful. You walk into this church, and it is decorated from floor to ceiling with the bones of probably 40,000 people. So there is like,
Where'd they get all those people?
Is it in Portugal?
I think it's Black Plague.
no, it's in the Czech Republic. So Sedlec, Sedlec, ossuary, Ossuary. There will be a quiz later.
Sedlick Ossuary.
Yes.
I'm looking at pictures now.
There were
Yeah.
there were
It
at
is-
least 4 other metal bands walking around this place.
Yeah, it is the most metal of metal places possible. There's like a whole crest decorated, just made out of human bones. There's just a fucking pile of skulls.
There's structures. There's a building made of just femurs. It's just a thing that you could look
Yeah,
at.
it is completely bonkers.
I want to see this.
We actually ran into Ghosty Main there.
Who the fuck is a ghosty man?
So Ghosty Main, we didn't know
Ghosty
either. I'm not going
Main,
to pretend.
okay.
Yeah, so
You don't know what that means.
but there's someone else covered in tattoos. Obviously, like, oh, you're a musician on tour. We're a musician on tour. Oh, you're American. Hey, let's talk. He's like, oh yeah, I'm Ghosty Main. So we look him up in the tour van. Motherfucker has like 40 million plays on SoundCloud and followers. Like this guy's actually like legit, like on
He's a
tour.
thing.
Yeah, he's a thing. But yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, you see someone else covered in tattoos and wearing a metal shirt in the middle of the metal church. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we're friends.
And then we went across the street and had Froyo.
Yeah, we had Froyo and a coffee. And I
Was it fluffy?
and I FaceTimed my son.
I did a raid in Pokemon Go.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Who I was very relieved that the bass player, who's this burly metal doom guy
Like
in
Ben?
Monolithian, burlier.
Yeah, he's
Burlier
burlier.
than Ben?
Yeah. Simon. Yeah.
Simon, he was like, he also played.
Super into Pokemon
And
Go.
so we would just disappear for an
These
hour
two
at a time. Just
motherfuckers.
like, I remember sleeping on the floor somewhere, and he's like, Nick,
There's a Charizard.
there's a Lunatone in the building.
What the fuck is a Lunatone?
It's a European exclusive Pokemon, okay?
Oh my god.
You have to go to Europe, Morgan.
And he woke me up at 2 a.m, and I had never been
you
happier
gotta
to be
catch 'em
woken
all,
up.
right?
I
Night or
got
day.
a data plan just to play in Europe. I spent like $100.
This is 100% true.
Worth it.
So how many did you catch in Europe?
All of them.
Every single one.
How many are there in Europe that you can catch?
I mean, I got Mr. Mime, I got Lunatune, I got
Looney Tune. Looney.
I
Yeah.
did get the Looney Tune.
We got Mr. Mime in Paris.
Yeah, that was pretty
Oh,
dope.
I even know.
Yeah.
He had to hear us like little idiots in the backseat, like, "Hey Simon, do you want to trade one of your guys for my guys?"
What are you, like 5? So when are you going to Asia for him to get the Asian Pokemon?
Right?
2021.
2021, you heard it here first. Snow Bureau is going to Asia. Make it happen.
I want to tour Japan so goddamn bad.
I want to be medium-sized in Japan.
So this is what it's like to be Ben.
Oh, man. Let's play another Snow Bureau.
So we've played 2 of my favorites. One of my favorite to play live, Gaping Wounds.
All right. We'll talk more about that when we come in. Here we go.
There is nothing to say.
I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
Yo, what's up, everybody? You got Diggs McNasty,
Timmy D,
Corey Carmander Davidson,
and Jared Ercoli from Fool's Brew, and we fucking love metal. So listen in to the Metal Experience because there's some cool motherfuckers, goddammit. Ho ho!
Woo! All right, we're back with Snow Burial rocking out in the back of Fits of Spare Keys. That was a tasty track called Gaping Wounds. Was that about Europe also?
Yes. Yep, everything's about Europe.
Everything.
Yep.
What gaping wounds did you acquire in Europe?
It wasn't actually about Europe. It's all right.
Okay. What was it about?
Oh, well, fun note, it's actually about my dad who passed away.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Huh? You asked.
No, sorry.
I witnessed all of that where your like playful banter was going in, and then Ben was like, "I'm gonna try and kill this right now with a playful diversion."
Yeah, I don't know how to come back from that.
We wrote a song about it.
I wrote about it. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry that.
No, I'm happy that I can laugh about it. My dad was awesome. I'm super lucky. Not everyone gets cool parents.
Was he also 14 feet tall?
Yeah, he was also a giant. Yeah. So, fun little tangent about that. When he retired, he got really into doing genealogy research. So his family came over to the
what?
Genealogy.
What is that?
Research. So that's studying your family trees.
Oh, okay.
And your ancestry. So his family.
He's saying genie. I'm like, genies? Like
genealogy.
It's the study of rubbing lamps and what happens.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Yeah. Largely,
that's a thing?
Most of the time, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Nick? He totally thought that. Really? He's imagining Robin Williams coming out of the lamp in Aladdin and just being like, he studies genies.
Why do you look like Will Smith now?
How many 3 wishes do I get? Anyway, continue. Luco.
Just making sure everyone's on their toes.
I knew exactly what he was talking about. Then you said that. I'm like, really?
Just making sure all listeners knew.
That's an appropriate thing, right? It's not for you; it's for the audience. And
that's a bullshit excuse.
Dumb, Morgan.
Don't give it to him.
I tried, Luke.
Thank you.
Come on.
All right, so
so the story about being a giant. So his family came over to the States my family came over to the States back in the 1600s. And so a lot of the records back from like 1800s are going to be census records. And there's a column, it's like for a household, how many people live there, a name, occupation. And then there's this other column at the very end that says criminal, insane, or other. And
ooh, crazy.
Next to my great-great-grandfather, I guess, there was something written there, but it wasn't obvious. It didn't say criminal, it didn't say insane or anything else. So my dad had to cross-reference other census forms from this census taker to figure out what had been written, because it was just handwritten, scanned from some 200-year-old document. It said 7 foot high.
What?
So... Dude bro farmer from the 1800s. That's my great-great-grandfather. So, yes, my dad's family are all giants. I come from giants, and my mom grew up in Sweden. So her side are all Vikings and giants, too. So
wait, how tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
Okay.
And My brother is 6'4". I have a cousin who's 6'10".
You're 6'5"?
Yeah.
Brandon's what, 6'3" or something?
Yeah, about that.
These mutants.
Yeah. yeah.
It sucks playing on stage with these guys.
Who's the little kid they brought with them?
Well, I mean, at least, he sits when he plays drums. You're taller than him then, right?
Nope.
What?
He's still got good torso length. He's all.
That's why you got to get one of those risers that you put in front of your guitar.
I'm not playing on an Apple box.
No, you got to stand up on the monitors.
Yeah, stand on the monitors.
No, I've decided to go the opposite direction by getting real low instead to accentuate it. And so I was like, oh, I'm just like really leaning into my stance.
Yeah,
I'm
just got to make sure you
And then
avoid
you
the
and Ben
crab
can have a
core.
lean off.
I need whoever shoots the last 20 years of Tom Cruise movies to just only film the Snow Burial shows.
Or Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Is Vin Diesel really short?
Oh yeah. Yeah, what's hilarious?
Well, everybody's short to Ben.
No, like in the Fast and the Furious movies where he's like eye to eye with a Rock who's my height and like 300 pounds of muscle, and then Vin Diesel's like maybe 5'7". So
he's only like 5'7".
He's taller than me.
He's not tiny, but compared to the Rock,
yeah, I mean a lot of people are small compared to the Rock.
I mean, look at him and Kevin Hart.
Right.
He like
That's
cradles
used
him
for
like a baby. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's Ben and Nick. I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
The truth hurts, but it's funny.
You gotta respect a good joke.
You're like the Kevin Hart of Snowberry.
Thinking Ben could be the Rock and Brandon could be Vin Diesel. I guess
These are quality burns. I should have brought.
All right. Well, while we're having a few more laughs, Luco, how about we do the pick of the week? Are you ready? Catch
Born
your
ready.
breath. Here we go.
Now it's time for
Hey man, look what I found!
Only on the Metal Experience.
All right, this week and every week is always brought to you by our friends at Imprint Recordings. Your music, your imprint. Visit imprintrecordings.com for more information for all your recording needs. And this week we feature our latest Song Do Contest winner. And we have all the way from Kolkata, formerly Morgan tells me, formerly Calcutta. And then that is the capital of India's West Bengal. I'll take your word on it. We have a band, and I'm going to butcher the way this is pronounced. Adbhutam. Spelled Adbhutam. And we have a twofer. We have Ravana and Momentum. Let's do it.
Hey yo, it's Troy Adams from the podcast Wrestling Society. Every single Wrestling Wednesday, we bring you brand new episodes where we review the best and worst of professional wrestling eras of the past, as well as the biggest current events in professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. Search for us on YouTube, where we have hilarious WWE Network watch-alongs, reviews of terrible shows, and other great content. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PodRest Society, and we're available on all podcast platforms. Come join the Society.
This is Gup.
This is Trent.
This is Tim.
And we're
Heavy! And you are listening to the Metal Experience Radio Show, Super Show Extravaganza, live on what the fuck network? Fuck. Can you edit that?
All right, that was brought to you by our friends at Imprint Recordings, your music, your imprint. Visit imprintrecordings.com for more information for all your recording needs. Sorry, I had a burp. And again, that was featured from Songdo. I was a Songdo contest winner. And that was the band. How did you pronounce that again? Like a big jerk.
Yep.
I'd asked him right after I pronounced it when we were playing the song. I'm like, pronounce that for me. He goes, "Whirr," and you're just like, not even thinking, just rattled it off. I'm like, you son of a bitch. Ad Budum. AdBhutam. AdBhutam. And I do apologize if I am butchering that name. And then we heard a twofer from them that was Ravana and Ravana. Like Nirvana, but Ravana. And Momentum. I am Luco Blaze with Morgan Danielle, rocking out. You're in the back of Fitz' spare keys. I've had a couple of Modelos, so feeling good, feeling loose. Morgan,
Yeah.
take it away.
I'm here. I'm here to take it away because obviously you're stuttering way too much. Yeah. It's a little off right now, huh?
I need another Modelo.
No, you don't. All right, so hanging out still with Snow Burial. So, Nick, you had said that you lived in Nevada. See, now I'm fucking up.
You lived in Nirvana.
I lived in Nirvana.
Yes, correct. You've fallen far.
In Nevada before, and that you had played in other bands. What type of metal bands had you played in out there? Or if they were other bands?
They were other bands. So I played in like a couple of trashy rock and roll bands. I played in...
Always bass?
Yeah. I played... I'm a guitar player by trade, but 4 strings is easier. It's less math. So I had... I had played guitar for maybe 5 years, and then when I started my first band, all 3 of us were guitar players, and so somebody had to switch, and so I picked up the bass for fun, and I love it. It's my favorite thing, and I haven't looked back ever. But I was in a band called This Computer Kills, which was like kind of like a post-hardcore, like, I hate saying this, but it is sort of like a screamo band, but not like mall screamo, more like Gravity Records screamo, like First Wave. This sounds ridiculous. I understand.
First Wave screamo.
Give us a couple names of bands that you would consider in that genre.
I mean, it was like Red Scare, Angel Hair, like
Red Scare, Angel Hair, Bald, Dare.
You're running off a Rancid lyric there. Black coat, white shoes, black cat, Cadillac.
Rancid?
Rancid?
Hearing that screamo.
Yeah, I mean, we were really into like At the Drive-In, Refused, and like just loud, screamy, discordant stuff. But like also equally into like Gang of Four and other like post-punk stuff like that. That was what I did for a long time. And then Bones, which I played with Ben, was like more sort of like old Fugazi, post-hardcore kind of stuff. I came to metal very weirdly in my life. I had started, like, when I picked up a guitar, all I learned was Metallica riffs. Like, that was, like, what my dad got me into Sabbath before anything. I was, like, 12 listening to Paranoid. That was, like, my first entry to music. And actually, we were talking about there's an Aerosmith pinball machine out there. That was my first concert with my dad.
Ooh.
We sat in the second to the last row when I was in 5th grade. He let me borrow his lighter for the encore, and I smelled weed for the first time, and I was like, that does not smell like the cigarettes you smoke, Dad. And he's like, yep, ignore that.
Legal now.
It's a very different time. But yeah, that was on like the Get a Grip tour of like 95.
That's
I was
awesome.
like,
Get
I
a
was a
Grip.
baby, yeah.
That's a good album.
Yeah,
I have that album.
That is solid.
Like
Like
the cow
living
and
on
the
an edge.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say I imagine cow udders on it. It's
Yeah.
with cow udders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like, I had done that, and then I got really into punk rock, and then like that punk rock part of me was like, fuck metal, it's the worst, blah, 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 blah. And then I got older, and I was like, oh, I've missed a crucial part of my development in not listening to heavy music. And so when I met Ben, I was like, I want to play heavy music with you. Like, be my heavy music shaman.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been like my favorite thing, being able to like just detune the shit out of my bass.
Now, when did you move over to Chicago land area from Nevada?
Probably about 2010. I had a real,
Oh, a good year.
I had a real right before the like snow apocalypse, and that was my first like winter in Chicago, where it was like,
Welcome to the shit show.
there was like snow up to my car's side view mirrors. And I was
Yep.
like, what is this place? How do people live here? Why?
Builds character, my man. Builds character. That's what I keep telling people.
Yeah, but so when I moved here, I brought all my gear, and I literally just finished recording a record back out in Nevada before I moved here. But I consider, like, I didn't want to just like find a Craigslist band that felt like those always feel really weird to me, like the online dating for music. And so I didn't play in a band for 8 years. Like I was here, and then I started being an actor, and I did like touring acting shows and comedy, and it was just a bunch of weird other.
In theater productions?
Yeah, I became a company member at a theater and started writing plays, and like that's
So what brought you to the Chicagoland?
that particularly.
Okay.
Like I mean, IO Theater, Second City, like doing all that like improv school. I was doing that out in Nevada, and they're like, you got to go to Chicago. That's where the cool stuff is. And I was like, well, I'm going to sell all my bass gear. And my improv coach was like, Nick, I don't know you very well. You should bring that. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like a pretty important part of your life. So my cabinets were sock shelves for about 6 years until I met Ben and Z. Like, that was, that like saved me. And I actually have promptly quit doing all of the acting things that I did because I like playing in a band like 1,000 times more.
So you were still doing all the acting up till recently?
Oh yeah, I used to tour doing an acting show probably about 2 months out of the year, and so I would do that, and then I like part of my job is doing like editing, but I would also do like on camera work, and have done like for a while. I've painted myself into a corner with
You
this.
walked right into it.
But I have done promotional spots for a company called Dude Wipes.
Oh, nice.
He's got those in the bathroom right now.
Yep. Well, I've done acting work for some of them.
Yeah, for commercials.
I've done, yeah,
They have
like-
commercials?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Are
so
they on YouTube?
please do not Google it. That was for like 6 months. Our Snow Burial band thread was like Snow Burial presents like Dude Wipes or like
No,
Shard Attack.
Shard Attack.
Was the name of one of the
So
commercials.
our fun with Siri was getting Siri to say, like, Prosthetic Records presents Shard Attack. Says.
I hate these guys.
I didn't bring it up.
I realized it when it was too late. I fell into this.
You
trap.
walked right into it.
I did.
I had found Dude Wipes at the grocery store fairly recently, and I'd never seen a commercial for them or anything. I laughed because what I always get people for like housewarming gifts is just like the largest roll of toilet paper.
Sure.
Here you go. You know, and right next to the toilet paper, Dude Wipes. So my buddy moved into his apartment and he was having a housewarming. I'm like, here's your toilet paper and Dude Wipes. He's like, what the fuck are these? I'm like, you're welcome.
That is correct. Yep. So.
I found you.
There it is. Please don't watch that in front
Dude,
of me.
shower late for date.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Let's play.
Oh,
Yeah, see?
For
There's my
everybody
man.
that wants to go on YouTube.
Is that you holding your anus?
Yeah.
Search
Look
for
how- look
dude
how
wipes
handsome he is.
late for date.
See? And he's
It's
running around the
pretty
lake store.
awesome.
Oh, God.
It's good old Chicago right there.
This is epic.
What were you pulling out of that tree?
He's pulling out a shower because he's got to wipe his butt.
He's got a hot date, so
He's got a
doesn't
hot
have time
date.
to
Now,
shower.
that model who's in that shot, she has. All right, I've learned. If I've
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
anything
tell
about
me about it.
whole life, is that she has the right job. She showed up for about 12 minutes. She just came perfectly makeup, perfect looking, walked in, did the thing.
Hugged you.
All the scene was like, all right, hug this guy and then leave. She nailed it in like 2 takes, and then she walked. She got like she was on set for maybe 10 minutes.
Wow.
And she crushed it, and she got a full day's wage for crushing it. It was awesome. And I was like, I've not thought my life through properly.
Morgan has sent me said video.
Yeah, you can cherish it forever.
So that's the.
So you were using dude. I thought dude wipes are for your anus.
Correct. Right. That is a.
You were wiping it all over your neck.
So Shard Attack is a separate commercial that I did for them.
Yep.
Which is
Shart?
Shard
It's-
Attack.
So it's
All
a
right.
parody of a shark attack, but it's
We're gonna take a
shitting your
real
pants.
quick pause. Hold on
No.
a second.
Let's play.
I found it.
Let's play another song, and while the song is playing, we're gonna
And
watch.
oh
these.
my god, your face is in this already. I need to share this with everyone. All right, we're gonna play a song. I'm gonna pick
What's-
because
what's the next- okay.
I just need to. I just need to.
I just need to.
I am going to call this one the aftermath. Here we go.
Russia!
I expect that type of language at Denny's, but not here. Well, that's too freaking bad. You hear me?
Because we're throwing it back to Morgan and Luco on the Metal Experience.
All right, we are back with the Metal Experience. I am Morgan Danielle with Luco Blaze, still chilling with Snow Burial tonight. That was another track off of the album. Wait for it, I'm going to say it correctly. Ostrava?
Very good.
Ostrava? Yeah.
Ostrava.
That was the after, or the
afterneath. It's
afterneath.
not
Yes.
a real word.
All right. So it's not a real word. So what made you name it that?
There's a really awesome pedal named the afterneath.
Ben
All
likes
right.
pedals.
Ben likes pedals.
I like pedals.
Let's talk gear for a second. What are your current instruments and your pedals and pickups and all that fun stuff?
I hope this podcast or radio show lasts about 16 more hours.
Well, it won't because I have work and set hours. So,
Ben, you go first.
I'll
You,
go.
you,
Oh,
have, you,
okay.
have, you have the impressive rig.
All right, so start with the amps, the things that make noise. I've now run a stereo rig of 2 Fender Twin reverbs. Nick has 2 bass cabs, and what we found that was really helpful for playing bars and all kinds of different venues, that he splits them up side by side. So I have bass speakers pointed right at me, and then I can put my 2 guitar amps on top on either side. He gets a guitar monitor, I get a bass monitor. The whole room sounds consistent everywhere. There's not like a dead spot. I don't know if you've seen bands where it's like all of a sudden one guitar just disappears because I went to the bar to order a beer or something, right? Like that. We wanted to avoid that.
So you have bass on both sides of the stage, guitar on both sides of the stage.
Exactly.
Dang.
And then
long chords.
Yeah, a bunch of chords. I have a monstrously complicated pedal board, which I'll talk about in a second.
Command center.
Yeah, it's command center. I play Electrical Guitar Company guitars. For this record and for the last 5 years, I've been playing an acrylic baritone.
Clear one, right?
Yeah, it's clear. Aluminum neck. The pickups are mounted to the aluminum neck. It sounds wild and gnarly and mean and gross. I found out about them from King Buzzo from the Melvins. He plays them. Scott Kelly from Neurosis. Aaron Turner from Sumac and Isis. Steve Albini from Shellac. He plays them. A bunch of my favorite bands all happen to play the same kind of guitar. I was really into it, and they look awesome. I just got another one, which I'm sort of transitioning over to, which is a Jazz Master body style, but also a baritone. The pedal boards is... so the first time we went to Europe, the very first thing I did is I plugged in my pedal board. I had what I thought was a converter to go because Europe is on different power. They run 220, we run 110. The power strip that I had bought advertised that it converted the power levels. It did not have a transformer converter. So I blew up my pedal board.
Oh no!
First show that I ever played in England, like within not playing a single song, just plugging it in on stage. So right then I figured out, thankfully, that all our songs work with me just plugging into a good amp that I could roll back the volume on. So despite all this complication, I try to make sure that I can just, if something breaks, I can just go right into an amp and we can play a song and it'll sound good. But given my druthers, I have my sort of command center with a MIDI switching system so I can loop in all kinds of different stereo effects to left and right and control that all. The big impetus was so that I could just press one button and do multiple things because I'm singing and playing guitar at the same time, and I can't look down at where my feet are anymore or press more than one thing at once to be able to sing something and play a guitar chord or something. So that switching system really simplifies that. So I can press one thing, one button, and 3 or 4 different things happen at once. So I can switch from part to part very easily that way.
Hell yeah.
That is the very short version of it.
So I play on, I think the thing that's most of my favorite part of my rig is I play through 2 410 Sun 410H cabs. They've got a horn and they're ported. I absolutely am in love with the sound of those cabs. I've had them since I was 17, and they've just stayed
now
with me
you're
forever.
19, so...
Yep. I'm almost legal, ladies and gentlemen. But those, so I run that, like Ben said, on opposite sides of the stage. I run that through an Ampeg SVT Classic head. This is the last generation made in America, and these were made in Missouri. That thing has been a tank for me and has lived forever. So it's way too powerful. We literally both our amps, like we always have poor sound guys like begging us to turn down, and we're both playing on 2, and both like all our gear is just so ferociously loud. We're on 2, and like when they ask us to turn down, legitimately, it's like a fraction of a tenth of an inch. Is like that's the most I can turn down
without turning off.
Yep.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And then
a harsh floor there.
I've always loved Fender Jazz basses. All of my basses have been Fender Jazz. I started with a Fender Squier. I graduated to a Fender Mexican, and now I have a Fender American, and that's
Fender Mexican.
Yep. I'm gonna just leave that right there.
So, there's a Fender factory in Mexico. So like price point wise, like the American ones are the most expensive. Then there's the Mexico-made ones, and then the Squier ones are just a general different construction.
They're just like the garbagey things, but
they're better now.
I mean, look, I've recorded records on those. Like I love those guitars. I've had them forever. They're still like
Ben from Soundgarden still plays a Squier bass.
They're fantastic. I prefer the American now.
Yes. Yes, the American ones are.
It's fine. It's
that's the top of the line.
It's very good. And then I basically my sound is a little more simplified because Ben's got such a dynamic range that he's capable of. Like I really just kind of focus on locking it down. So I basically have clean, I have grimy, and then really grimy. That's like those are my pedal stages, and I leave it at that. Just it's like does it need to be ugly or like gross? So that's
or pretty.
But yeah, that's how we run. I try to keep it like relatively simple, just because Ben is like constantly trying to woo me to the dark side of pedaledom and extra things, and so and it's working. So we'll see what other magic tricks we bust out for the next record.
Okay.
This also explains for those that have seen Snow Burial live why are they one of the loudest bands that you will ever see live. Like,
we're quieter than when you first started seeing us.
I don't know until I see you again. Like, it's probably really loud.
Yeah, I don't like. So we're not trying to be like Sun, where it's like that's the point. It's just like the amps that we have work really well together, and Brendan plays a monstrously huge drum kit, right? And he hits
really
like
hard.
Yeah, he's real hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on this side to get a clear acrylic instrument, as the rest of the band has clear acrylic instruments. Ben has gone as far to put a down payment on a clear acrylic instrument.
So Electrical Guitar Company, which is the makes my guitars, like they do custom orders, and I have a deposit down on it.
I thought you weren't switching up your equipment.
Look,
I thought there was a rule.
You know what? Rules were meant to be replaced with other clear rule breaking instruments.
What will happen for your next tour?
It's unclear, but it will be clear.
Okay.
Dying to fire, Nick. Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, fundamentally, we try to just keep it guitar, bass, and drums
clear.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the I mean, I like my favorite part about playing loud and playing metal is the standing in front of a big amp and hitting the guitar, and there's just a certain it's like a lizard brain kind of instinctual, like, it fucking rules, right?
Lizard brain.
Yeah, like
it's that scene in Back to the Future where he just like lays
just dimes
into to the amp. And it's
just knocked away.
There's something great about having your bones rattle when you play a chord that is tough to beat.
So just finding whatever the instruments to make that happen.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Is there a show that stands out to you the most in the time that you've been in Snow Burial for being your most favorite? or a favorite moment?
Nick's the newest member. Does Nick have one?
So I would say it's one of two things. And I will give you a half story of both because I don't care. I really loved our last Forever Deaf Fest show. That felt like
that was on my list.
That felt like the culmination of we had been playing together for a long time, and I think there's a level at which there's someone, and I felt this, like you can show up, you can do the songs, and they can exist, and that's a show, right? But it didn't. It took until December, like from the time that we'd played together till December, for us to really like gel in a way that was like, oh shit, that's us. That's like when you're with your person for a long time and you start having good sex. You're like, yes, we have solved it together. This is us. This is how we show up for each other.
So you guys have good sex on stage.
Look, it was for me. That's all I can say. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but like,
Felt like we took steps backwards.
But that one for me felt like we were firing on all cylinders, and that meant a ton for me because being able to play that show, the show last year was the one that got us our record deal, so it felt like we owed it to Prosthetic to just slay that show and play our absolute best, and it
Just
really
have sex on stage.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
I mean, engine room, choo choo. Like that was like that was.
I like that comparison. It's perfect.
It was great. Like that was I think one of the highlights for me. That was it.
So that was on my list. Another one for me was that Desert Fest show.
That was going to be
in
my
London,
other one, just because we did it.
Because it was after that was the show in London. After that crazy drive, after everything had gone wrong, and it was like we needed nothing more desperately than some wind in our sails, right? Like it was, and shit broke like on stage. Like my pedal board went wrong, and like had to troubleshoot in the middle. But we still I thought we killed that set, and people really responded well. Like after the set, people were really sweet and coming up to us and saying, "Oh, that was a great show." And like, Forever Deaf is a huge festival. There's lots of things happening on at the same time. They're like, look, I skipped this other band to come see you guys, and you fucking killed it. Like those kind of experiences, that last bit of nourishment you need to like keep going. Like that really was special.
Bias.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just continue to see you guys grow as a band because you've come so far since we saw you guys play that little show in the Mutiny.
Thanks.
And it's crazy. We're talking, and it's 4 years later. Like
6?
6.
Yeah, 2014.
We didn't do it a count.
Oh my God! I was thinking the
plus.
2016 show of you coming as Snowburial, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
right.
6 years. It's like flown by, and it's just a huge 180 from where you started. I mean, you're signed now. How many albums have you put out now? 3?
So 2 full lengths, and then we did 2 EPs as Oxblood. So yeah, it's crazy to think that been in the studio that much. Took a long time between Victory and Ruin and this record to come out. It will not be that long.
Contractually,
we are obligated to not take 4 years to make the next record. But yeah, I couldn't be more excited to be where we're at now and keep doing more things. I mean, it's the hard thing about this industry, as you guys know, as you're doing it, no one's asking you to do any of this shit.
Yes.
So to break your way in to the point where someone actually asks you to do something and is remarkable. Like that's winning at a level that is really, really hard to get to, and I just want to keep working. Yeah.
Well, fuck yeah.
I like the way that you put that because, like, when I think about that, I mean, yeah, it rings true. Like, if we didn't continuously have bands asked to be on our show, I'd be like, well, no. Do I really want to reach out to a bunch of people? Maybe not.
I mean, it's hard to ask and then get rejected or just to be, shrugged off
or ignored.
Yeah,
right?
It's a different time for music, right? Especially for heavy music, right? There aren't people. Metallica's not on the radio. Right, that's like
not true.
When I grew up, when I was 13, like the Black Album was king of the charts. Like it was what you just flipped on the radio and Enter Sandman would come out. Like
bigger than Post Malone.
Yeah, it was
But
heavy, like kids were exposed to heavy music, and this is my most like old man shaking fist at clouds moment. But like, there's not a ton of that anymore, and it's hard to play heavy music. And so I think Ben's right. Just like any tiny invitation to anything that can help keep that wind in your sails is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, you guys did bring a few of the copies of the newest album with you tonight. What do you have available for people to pick up of the new merchandise, and where can everybody find that stuff?
So on Bandcamp, you can buy our vinyl. So we have copies of the first pressing still available.
Which we have, and it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. You can get our CD, and through there should also go to the Big Cartel link to get our T-shirts if you want them.
Any Oxblood shirts all available?
I think there is one. There is a gray one.
Is it in a medium? Because I wear medium.
Don't remember what size it's in. So for those the very
Those
short
old school.
For those old school, we used to be called Oxblood, and then some skinheads got in our faces, and we had to change our name because fucking skinheads. But yeah, I think there's like one shirt. It's such a sweet design too. God damn it.
Hey, Luco still rocks it. It still lives, man.
So Ryan from Photocrime / shirtkiller.com. He did the art for that. He did the art for our first record. He's done a ton of basically like all the Russian Circles stuff and art and shirts and merch and Pelicans logo and all that. Yeah, he's a badass artist. A really sweet Boris shirt too. I need to get
Boris.
Yeah.
And is there a vinyl available for the new album?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, both records are available.
Swirled Purple.
Yeah,
and
purple.
Smoke.
It's fun.
Swirled Purple.
Swirled Purple with the smoke.
I want one of those.
We also are dicks, and we made the European import only pressings black. So if you want the special import pressings, you got to buy black, because I really wanted us to have 180 gram black, because as a vinyl nerd, that's my go-to.
Black
and
sounds better.
It does. It like objectively sounds better than colored records, and it's a real fight. Yeah, it's actually.
I had no idea there was a difference. I love colors.
If you press a record, the pressing studios will be like, we love colored records too. They objectively don't sound as good as.
And why is that?
It has to do with the material they're using. There's something inherent in the black pellets that they use that actually helps reduce noise, and so they're almost uniformly quieter. And then 180 gram just prevents them from warping a little bit more than a lot of the thinner records tend to warp.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I've learned so much tonight, Lugo.
Oh yeah, these vinyl nerds right here. Oh, he's the real one.
He's the
I'm
real
a pretender one.
gear nerd.
But yeah, so we have the new records out on vinyl. You can get it through our Bandcamp as well. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you guys.
It's okay. We'll figure it out. Do you guys have any current shows coming up?
Yeah, so our Booze of the Boo-ness, our dear friends Huntsman have a record coming out in March.
And they've got a sweet vinyl too.
Oh, hell yeah. And so their drummer painted their album cover for the new record.
Awesome.
Ray is just a badass. And so we're going to do some shows regionally with them. So we're going to go to Louisville, Madison, Minneapolis, Dubuque. They're doing a couple other shows, like Romeoville. They're going to go to play Metal Monkey Brewing. We're trying to get an Indianapolis date together. And then in April,
Be with us, Indy.
Yeah. In April, we're doing a run out to Ohio with our dear friends in Close the Hatch, which is a doom band out of Columbus. And then we've got some tours that we're working on booking for the summer with the previously aforementioned Horse Burner. And then hopefully some other really fun plans in the late summer. But those
anything Chicago yet?
So yeah, in the first summer tour will be so June is going to be probably our first Chicago date unless something else comes up along the way.
My god. That's such a wait.
I know. Well, but it'll be all nice and summery then.
It'll be all nice and summery,
I
Morgan.
know. Nice and summery, but I mean, you're called Snow Burial, so obviously you're like a Winterfield band.
We're buried in snow. We're hibernating.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
we gotta write a record.
You just put out one.
You're telling us.
Well, just to wrap up tonight, a few announcements before our next show, which is next week. You know how it goes. A few shows coming up. This coming Saturday on the 25th, it's Winter Metal Meltdown featuring Salem's Child, You Are Dead, and Severed Headshot.
You Are Dead.
At the Nickel Plate Saloon in Peru, Indiana. You can check that out. The 31st, Scars of Armageddon are playing with Armored Assault. Their live return. They haven't been on the stage in a little bit.
Love
with
those
Having
guys.
Kittens and Extraction Point at Livewire. The Doom Room's annual award night, this is the third annual, is happening this coming weekend at North End Pub with Walk Among Us, Bizarre Noir, and Death at Dawn all playing. And then Project I Hate has a brand new single available, You Brought This War, off the new album that comes out soon. But the new single is available January 17th, and the new album comes out in spring. Check that out. What do I got? There's so many things I screenshotted.
Screenshooted.
Screenshoot. Wait for it.
Screenshotted.
Check out the new Weed Beat album. They just did an album release show this past weekend for their album.
No way.
Triumvirance Part 1, Dissension. And that is up on all streaming platforms right now. The Tonson episode of Star of the Arts podcast is available now if you want to go to Star of the Arts' Facebook page for a link. That is Connor from Arabella's podcast where he interviews bands. He says it's one of the funniest he's ever done, so you should check it out and let him know if you feel the same way. And then also brand new merch from our friends in Portals. They have wall flags, t-shirts, and long sleeve shirts. Pre-orders are available.
Dang.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Our friends in Orinoco are playing with Bleed the Sky, Arise the Chaos, Backlash, and Skin Lab at the Forge, February 7th. They have pre-sale tickets available if you would like to get them for a cheaper price. You can pick those up with the guys, message them on Facebook if you are interested. And
Pick it up with the boys.
With the boys. This coming Thursday, there's a show happening at the Wire with South Arsenal, Insult to Injury, Stitch Apart, and Cambina, I guess, at the Wire in Berwyn. And make sure you stay tuned to Orinoco's Facebook page. They said that on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, they have a announcement that's hot that you would want to miss. Don't miss.
Which band?
Orinoco.
Okay.
This coming Friday, Xenopredator talked about it when they were on the show, as well as Her Worst Nightmare. But they are having their album release show at Livewire happening on Friday with the Green Leaves, Crusadus, Vicious Attack, Her Worst Nightmare, and I don't know what that last band is. Yeah, it's a band I can't pronounce. It's a crazy. And this Thursday at the Forge, Face the Fire and Qualia, Misfire, and more are playing a local showcase. So make sure you check that out. And last but not least, at the Subterranean on the 27th, our friends in Tonson are playing with Of Virtue and Havens and a couple other bands. I'm pretty sure that is almost sold out. Or it might be already, because Of Virtue was doing a couple headline dates recently.
Dang.
So make sure you head to their Facebook page for more details. And before we started the show, our friends Holly and Rob stopped by with our friend Ramsey, who passed away at the end of December, his leather jacket, the last time that it'll be around here before it gets sent back to his family. We took a picture with it for the last time. So that's up on our Instagram. We miss Randy. But they're having a benefit show this coming Saturday at Sugar Skull with Extraction Point, Convoy, Hot Dang, and Dead Where I Stand. It's the tribute show to Randy. It's like a huge, local show with everybody that was close with him. And this is, unfortunately, Hot Dang's last show. They said that they are going to be calling it quits. Maybe they'll do a reunion show in the future, but that will be their last show for the time being. So make sure you...
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah. And then couple other shows happening this week. So tomorrow, Shadow of a Tent is playing with Infury, Signs of the Swarm, and Branded Sacrifice. Portal's opening, and that's going to be... I'm not sure.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Reggie's. Sorry. No, not Reggie's.
And that's going
I
to
don't
be,
know.
I'm not sure.
Empire Productions. I think that's Cover Lounge.
Good one, Morgan.
And last, Reggie's is Mobile Death Camp, Jury of Fears, and Full Shred Ahead. And that is happening this coming week as well. So make sure...
Mobile Death Camp?
This Sunday at 7. Make sure you check those out.
Check out Mobile Death Camp.
Going mobile.
And next week on the show, we're going to have Feet to Suffer. Make sure you tune in on that following Wednesday when we have it posted on our podcast website, Podbean, which is our streaming platform that distributes all of our shows onto iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And then we share that link on our Facebook page, which you can listen to and download through the Podbean website. It'll give you that link when it opens up in the new tabs. So.
No way.
Yeah. And that's next week at Fits' Spirit Keys, which you can come out and listen to the show while we record. So, for the last song of the night.
Slamodellos.
First, we want to thank our friends at Snow Bear for finally coming back out. It's been a while, so we're so glad that we got to get you guys finally on the show again.
On
It's
a
been
school
a
night.
long time.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And we'll get you guys on again. When you guys have a new album again. What's the last?
Contractually, they have to.
What's the last track that you guys want to play tonight?
Burn down the crown.
Burn down the crown.
Burn down the crown, please.
All right.
Let's come tearing
The
out.
last
this
track of the night.
Burn
Make sure
down
you
the crown.
check out the guys on Facebook and all of their streaming platforms. Pick up the new album. We've got a couple to give away thanks to the guys for bringing them out. And the lucky few will get to add an awesome album to their collection. And here is Burn Down the Crown. Good night.